So how many of you want to be successful? Yes. And how many of you want to be successful and recognized for that?
We all do.
Well, what if I were to tell you that only half of you would actually accomplish that? And not because of your experience or your skills or your education, but solely on the fact of your gender. Now today there's a big issue with gender wage gap and the equal opportunity issues. But today I'm here to inform you on what women have overcome and what they wish to overcome. So I'm going to start with background on what women have already overcome and why we are able to have what we have today and what they have achieved, and then what they wish to achieve right now. So first, from The Women's Right and Inequality in America by Farah J. She talks about the background of where women have gone through and how we got to where we are today. In 1920, this is where the 19th Amendment was put in place, and the 19th Amendment was the ability for women to vote. And then in 1993, Alice Paul drafted and introduced the Equal Rights Amendment. So the Equal Rights Amendment was supposed to give women the opportunity not only to vote, but also the ability to have the same opportunities as men, because during that time, it wasn't really like that. And in 1973, that is when it was actually approved by the Senate. But it was never actually passed by the state, so this isn't actually an amendment. So then in 1973, the Supreme Court case ruled on Roe versus Wade that gave women the control and the ability to privacy and health care, meaning that they have the choice to choose what they want to do with their bodies. And in 1994, the passage of the Violence Against Women Act gave women the ability to have a safe place and was really the nation's way to go against their response to domestic and sexual violence. In 2009, the Liddy Ledbetter Fair Pay Act struck down a 180-day of limitation on filing an equal pay lawsuit. Now, all of these were big steps during that time, and is one of the biggest reasons why we are all here today and why women have opportunities to have educations and a job, but it is not where we want to be. Women are big impact on all aspects of our society, including political, social, and economical. And in the womensmarch.com, you can get a good idea of what the Women's March in January 21st, 2017 was all about. Now, it advocated legislation and policies regarding human rights and also on women's rights, immigration, healthcare, the LGBTQ community rights, racial inequality, and a lot more. Now, all of this was a statement that everybody wanted to make to the new government and to give them an idea of what we want. So, although we are an equal part of our community and women do have a big impact on the workforce, we are not equally paid. Based on the United States Department of Labor, women make 79% of what men make. So that means for the dollar a man makes, a woman only gets 79 cents. So you have the same job, the same exact education, and solely on the fact because you are a woman, you will get paid less. A lot of people say that it is because of the maternity leave or because they take a lot of time off, which is true, but if our government were to support our women with maternity and provide them with a good health care, then it would allow women to have the same amount of pay. So women are not only are paid less, but they are also, regardless of their education, not given the same opportunities. So a woman could have a higher education, be the top in her class, and still not get the same opportunity or job as a man. Even with a higher education and the top of her class, it's still an obstacle for a woman to get the same pay or be at the top of her career field compared to how easily it can be for a man. So based on the gender wage gap by Covert B, he states that not only is wage gap significant, but women are often looked down upon for doing both. So this means that doing both makes it harder for them, so they have to work twice as hard, or one of those things are often pushed to the side. So meaning that she spends a lot of time on work, so she doesn't have as much time for her kids, or she spends more time on her family and her kids, that it doesn't allow her to be really successful in her job. So today for my artifact, I brought this picture. I forgot her name, but It's the poster that was used during World War II and the Vietnam War that basically it was a advocate for women to be a part of the war, and this was actually a big step to women having a bigger role in our society. It's what led a lot of women to apply for the army, and because they weren't allowed to go into the military or to actually serve, they were allowed to do things like, fix infantry or, pack stuff and little parts, but it was a big step for women. So women have struggled a lot and women have overcome a lot, and these are all things that we have to keep in mind to have an understanding of what women wish to achieve, which is all equal opportunity and equal pay. We want to be recognized, and everyone should be recognized. Everyone should have the opportunity to show their skills and their experience and to show what they have compared to other people, and not based on the fact of their gender or anything else. The women's rights movement is more than just a woman not advocating that she's no longer in the kitchen, but it's also about women having the same opportunities, the same rights, and the same advances and recognition as men.